Don't forget to like and subscribe to Jolie Knots Crochet. Share with your friends. Hit that little notification bell so you can get notified when new patterns release. All our videos are available in left and right-handed tutorials.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Jolie Knots Crochet. I'm Crystal and today we're going to be making this Lacey garden shawl. This shawl measures from one end to the other 70 inches and from the bottom to the top 27 inches. So it will be a lot wider in your arm section than it will be in the back. The flow on this is really nice. It is lacy, so I used a thicker yarn to still give it some warmth. There will be a written pattern available for this with a chart included, so just check the link in the description box below. The yarn that we used for this shawl today is Red Heart Colorscapes. It is a 3.5 ounce skein with 187 yards. I used 2 skeins of this for this shawl. It is a larger hook and a lacy project, so it's going to go a longer way. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 repeats only to get to this size, the 27 inches deep and 70 inches wide. Now the color of this is Shanghai. It is a medium 4-weight yarn. I think that is heavy 4-weight yarn in my opinion. It's a lot thicker and it is 100% acrylic. Now you will need a 7mm hook and a tapestry needle to weave in your ends. Let's go ahead and grab our materials and we'll get started. We're going to make a slip knot and then we're going to chain 5. Into the first chain that we created, we're going to put 2 double crochets. 1, 2. And now we're going to make a picot. So chain 3. And then we'll slip stitch to the top 2 rings from the double crochet we had just created. We're going to put 2 more double crochets into that ring. And then we're going to put a treble crochet. So your first stitch should be chain 4, and that's going to count as your treble. You'll have 2 double crochets, picot, 2 double crochets, and a treble. Alright, getting started on row 2, we're going to chain 5. And that will count as our double treble. Turn your work, and into that first stitch we're going to put 1 treble and another treble. And then you'll chain 1 and put 1 more treble. And now with this picot that we created, we're going to single crochet right into the middle of it. Now we're going to work this here that we just worked, but on the other side into the last stitch. So we're going to start with the treble. Find the top of your chain 4. Chain 1. And put 2 trebles. And then 1 double treble. So we're wrapping our hook 3 times for that double treble. Here's what the end of that row should look like. Okay, getting started on row 3. We're going to chain 4. That's going to count as our treble. Turn your work, and into the space here between your first and your second stitch, you're going to put a V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. You're going to skip 1 stitch, and into the top of your middle treble here, we're going to put 1 more V-stitch. And then into your single crochet will V-stitch. So this is going to be your first repeat row. After your chain 4, your V-stitch in between your first 2 stitches, we'll V-stitch into the middle of our treble, the middle treble, V-stitch into your single crochet, V-stitch into your middle treble, and then in between your last 2 stitches, we're going to put another V-stitch and a treble. And that's what the end of your 3rd row should look like. Getting started on row 4, you'll chain 4. 3 and 4 are basically just V-stitches, and we're going to work into the chain space of our V-stitches. So our first V-stitch is going to be like before. It's going to be in between our first 2. And then into every V-stitch, into the space created by that chain, we're going to put a V-stitch. When we finish out this row, we'll do it just like we did in the beginning, and in between our last 2 stitches, we'll have our V-stitch and our treble. So if we lay this down, we take a look at the end of row 4. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 V-stitches. We should have increased 2 V-stitches, 1 on each side for this row. Now for row 5, this is our flower row. All the flowers are going to be the same except our beginning flower and our ending flower. We're going to have 4 stitches to start with. Turn your work, and into the first stitch we're going to put 2 double crochets, a picot, and 2 double crochets. I'm sorry, and 3 double crochets. So our chain 4 is counting as a treble. You'll have 2 double crochets, picot, and then 3 double crochets following that. Now we're going to find our first V-stitch, and we're going to single crochet into the chain space, and into our next V-stitch is where we're going to work our next flower. and that's 3 double crochets, a picot, and 3 more double crochets. And that's what you'll repeat to the end. Single crochet into your next V-stitch, and then flower into the V-stitch after that. So at the end of this row, you should have 5 flowers. Single crochet into the next V, and then another flower. Now we should have one more V-stitch left. We'll put our last single crochet into that V-stitch, and finding the top of your chain 4 from the previous round, that's where we're going to add our next flower. It's going to seem a little bit tight, but it'll all fit just fine. So 3 double crochets, a picot, and remember I said your first and your last flower were just a little different. We're putting 2 double crochets and then 1 treble crochet all the way at the end. And this should be the end of your 5th round. Alright. Now getting started on round 6, we are going to chain 5. Turn your work, and into your first stitch you're going to put 2 trebles, 1 chain, and then 2 more trebles. One chain and then 1 more treble. So you should have a chain 5, 2 trebles, chain 1, 1 more treble. Now we'll single crochet into our picot, and here's what you're going to repeat into all of your single crochets. We're going to do 1 treble, chain 1, treble, chain 1, and then treble. Single crochet into your picot. Working into your next single crochet, again, treble, chain 1, treble, these will all go into the same stitch, chain 1, and 1 more treble. Single crochet. Let me go ahead and finish this out, and I'll meet you right at the end and show you how we're closing it up. that we're at our last flower, we're gonna work this sequence here that we started with at the top of our chain 4 here. So we're going to find your chain 4 and we're going to work 1 treble, chain 1, 2 trebles, and then a double treble. And here's what we should have so far. So your repeat rows are going to be 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you'll have 2 V-stitch rows, a flower row, and then a fan row. Let me show you row 3 again. There wasn't a whole lot here that you could see, so I'm going to show you that row 3 one more time in the repeat manner. We're chaining 4, turning your work, and in between your first 2 stitches we're going to put a V-stitch. Into your middle treble we're going to put a V-stitch. Into your single crochet we're going to put a V-stitch. You're going to do that all the way down. A V-stitch into your middle treble and then a V-stitch into your single crochet. All the way until you get to the end. Right here at the end, between your last 2 stitches, we'll put our last V-stitch and then we'll add a treble in there. And there's your work. Okay, so that's a repeat of row 3. You're going to repeat rows 3, 4, 5, and 6, just a simple 4-row repeat. All right, thank you everybody for watching. If you did take the time to make this beautiful shawl, don't forget to join our Jolie Knots Crochet community on Facebook and show us what you've made. Have a great day.